It wasn't the prettiest, but the Bulls did get a win in their preseason opener against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Buzelis stands out with 19 points, but he's not the only one. We're talking about it all and more in today's Locked On Bulls.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily Chicago Bulls podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every single day. That's Pat, the designer, host and creator of the Windy City Breeze, and host of the Chicago Bears podcast over at ESPN 1000. I'm Haize, host and creator of Chicago Bulls Central and Chicago Bears Central YouTube pages and podcasts. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. Pat, let's get into it, man. Bulls get a preseason win in this one. Dalen Terry making the game-saving block in this game to seal the victory, but he wasn't the only one. Javon Carter actually had some pretty big shots down the stretch of this game. But let's start off with the guy who led the Bulls at least in points per game, points in this game. Modest, 19 points in 18 minutes, going 7 of 11, 8 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 block, 2 turnovers from Modest Buzelis. How do you feel about Buzelis' game today?
Listen, this is exactly what you wanted to see from the young man. I mean, he came out, he attacked, he was aggressive, he was efficient. I thought he did a good job picking his spots very early on. And I think that the couple of passes that Giddey threw to him, he knew exactly what to do with it and was able to finish around the rim. And I thought that, Modest game looked exactly like somebody who you would expect to be a big part of the offense coming into this season. I think that to start off, as aggressive as he did, of course, we got to talk about both of them together, and we'll talk about the team as a whole. But I thought that you had the two guys who were locked in the gym basically all summer look like the two guys that were the most prepared on the basketball court, Ayo Dosunmu and Modest Buzelis. And that's exactly what you want to see if you're the Chicago Bulls starting things off here.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's preseason, so take everything good and bad with a grain of salt. 100%. It's preseason, right? But for what it's worth, judging off this game, Modest was a lot more aggressive. We saw him get opportunities to try to create off the dribble, and that was expected with Kobe White being out. Like, we knew that somebody was going to have to take some of those opportunities to try to create for themselves. And for what it's worth, in a game where Josh Giddey was assisting 5, and you can tell me how you feel. Like, I even feel like Josh Giddey played some pretty good defense. His offense was shooting-wise was trash today. He was 1 for 4 today, but he was active defensively. I think he had 3 steals on the day, and Modest was really that engine offensively. And then when Ayo came off the bench as well, those guys were engines for this team. So Modest in this first game, I got to give him credit. Like, Modest, he looks like he's ready to make that step up. 19 points in 18 minutes is nothing to shake your head at. 7 of 11 from the field, got to the free throw line some as well. I like that for Modest Buzelis. Let me ask you this. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, because I'm going to flip the subject. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, listen, you want to see, how I'm big on efficiency. That's my thing. I love that Kobe White's an efficient scorer when he's hot. The fact that Modest Buzelis was able to do this in 18 minutes on 11 shots, like, that is an efficient day, and that's an exciting thing to see from a second-year player starting things off.
Yeah. I mean, that's what you want him to look like, is not only, like you said, like, the best player on the court at times, but just a guy that's ready to take a step up. And so he looked like that today. The question I was going to throw to you, though, Pat, was, we know that Kevin Huerter and Isaac Okoro are in the battle for the starting small forward. I'll tell you what, today, Isaac took that. I don't think it's going to be decided just in one game, but today, Isaac outplayed Kevin Huerter by quite a large margin today.
Well, yeah, listen, I think we kind of knew Isaac Okoro was a better starter than Kevin Huerter, right? Like, the thing with Isaac Okoro that I think you have to look at his game is that he's done this. He was replaced by somebody who can score more than he can, not who could go out there and get the job done as much as he can as far as a defensive player and being able to finish around the rim. He looked confident. He looked like, he was excited to play his former team and to be able to go at some of those guys that he was traded away from. Again, like you said earlier, right? It's preseason. You can't take anything massive from it, especially the first preseason game. But I do think that you can be excited about the fact that Isaac Okoro just looked like, hey, I'm about my business. I'm going to handle my job on the defensive end. On the offensive end, you throw it to me down in the paint, I'm going to be able to finish it. And again, I think you mentioned it with Giddey. He was another one with Okoro that I thought, it was kind of just like run to the spot. I will find you.
Yeah.
And
sure.
That's what we saw kind of. I mean, Giddey only gets credited for 5 assists in this game, but I thought that there was plenty of passes that set up guys for the opportunity to be able to finish around the rim. And I thought that Isaac Okoro was somebody who benefited more from that. And Kevin Huerter on the flip side of that, like, not to say that it's done, but he's a shooter. Shooters got to get in rhythm. His skill is shooting. That's it. This is the first preseason game. We could be by, the end of this preseason, and Kevin Huerter could have 3 to 4 games where he's shooting 6 for 7 from the field and 2 for 3 from the 3-point line. I think that the question about who's going to be the starting small forward is more, what do you want? Do you feel like you're going to need more offense in this starting lineup, or do you feel like you're going to be okay going out there with a defensive player that has the ability to shoot the 3 ball a little bit, and to be able to finish around the rim at a high clip like Isaac Okoro is? Do you essentially want P. Will that actually is going to go out there and be aggressive?
I mean, I think it's even more than that. It's not just even about the more aggressive side of it, because I think, I mean, yes, that's the main part of what separates them. But I also think, like, they're different types of defenders. They're both really solid defenders. Okoro was more of a disruptive defender. Like, P. Will was more of the defender that, I'm about to put my body on you, you can't get past me, and now you're frustrated. Whereas Isaac Okoro was like, I'm about to swipe, I'm gonna hit your wrist, I'm probably not gonna get called for a foul, I'm gonna do that type of stuff. And you need that. Like, you need some of that on this team. So yeah, it's good to see Isaac Okoro with 11 points as well. Him step up in this time as well, because you needed that. That was important as well. Let's get before we end this segment, right? I do want to talk to you about another player in this one, and we gotta bring him up. P. Will, 16 minutes, 11 points, 3 of 3 from the field, 3 assists, 2 rebounds, only 1 turnover from P. Will. How'd you feel about the game that P. Will had? Because I have a perspective on it, but I want to hear yours.
I'll say this. I know this is crazy to say, as big of a fan as I was, but I got to go off what I've seen this season. Good job putting up the Justin Fields number. It's easy to do that when you're playing in the fourth quarter and the game truly doesn't matter for you anyway. Like, I mean, like, you're not out there versus the guys that we're expecting you to be putting up this production against. I thought that there were plenty of P. Will moments that you could still look at and go, okay, that was a moment that happened there. And it felt very much the same. And again, I looked at that fourth quarter, third and fourth quarter, kind of, because P. Will was in there. I mean, what was he? Was he the 8th person?
No,
off the bench tonight?
P. Will was the 11th person.
11th person off of the bench tonight. So I think that tells you what Billy Donovan thinks of Patrick Williams right now. But it truly is just, it felt like a situation of, I know I'm the odd man out and I'm accepting my fate. Very Nate Davis like. Very, very like, maybe not Nate Davis, very Karana Magaji like, if you will.
Well, here's the thing, though, Pat. Like, P. Will didn't necessarily put up all his points in the fourth quarter. He didn't score at all in the fourth quarter, I don't think. Honestly, he did that most his work in the second and third quarters. But I do think his defense against Evan Mobley on some possessions was really good. I like to see that from him. And that's all I'm looking for P. Will from at this point. Solid defense, hit your open shots. He had a time where he attacked the closeout there, damn near lost my mind, because it was aggressive move from P. Will. Yeah. And shout out to that. But then it wasn't very much aggressive after that. But I think the way that I'm viewing P. Will this season, because I don't expect him to be heavily in the rotation, is that I forget the 4th overall pick. That's gone. That's done. He's not going to live up to that. The contract is going to be overpaid. That's done. It's probably not going to live up to that. But P. Will can still be a solid contributor off the bench. I think his defense in his minutes this tonight were solid, and that's probably about the level of competition he's going to face off against now, because it does seem like at best he's going to be the 10th man.
I guess, yeah. If you play the last 10 minutes of or the last 4 minutes of a game in a blowout, like, you might get that opportunity to play that competition. Listen, here's my thing with the end all be all of P. Will. I think Billy Donovan sent you the message tonight. He's not a part of my rotation. That's really, I would assume you're going 10 deep in the rotation this season. Got to say in the rotation on that. That was almost crazy.
Yeah.
And if he's the 11th man off the bench, that means he's probably not a part of your rotation. Like him and Javon Carter about to be doing a lot of high fives this offseason or this season.
I mean, we shall see, right? Like, I mean, we'll see what happens over the preseason. He was the 11th man to get into this game. We'll see if that continues throughout this whole preseason. For all those people that are like, well, they got to play P. Will because they're paying him. I kept telling people that I don't know if that's true. I'm not saying it's wrong either, but I don't know if that's ultimately what's going to get him in the game. So we shall see what happens there, because it seems like as of right now, P. Will is very much you got to go out there and do something. So we'll see. With that said, though, we're going to get into the next topic where we're going to be talking about, do the Bulls have actually a strong bench unit? Because a lot of players coming off the bench actually had some pretty good nights tonight. But first, we've got to get to a message from Monarch Money. Oh, Pat was ready. I'm not ready. I was like, hey, was Pat going to be late? Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even their worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there's Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. If you put off organizing your finances, Monarch is there for you. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. The thing I love most about Monarch Money is that you can track both shared and personal accounts and set goals between those accounts so you have a complete outlook of your finances. Don't let this financial opportunity slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONNBA. More Locked On Bulls coming up next. All right, Pat. So, with that said, the Bulls bench unit today, let's just go over the players that we know are for a fact going to be coming off the bench. Right now, Kevin Huerter was in the starting lineup where he talked about he didn't necessarily have the best day. Zach Collins, 14 minutes, 16 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 rebounds. Then you got Trey Jones, led the team in plus minus at plus 16 with 10 points. He went 4 or 5 from the field, 4 steals, 2 assists, 1 rebound from him. Ayo Dosunmu, 12 points in 19 minutes with 3 rebounds. No turnovers from him either at all in that. Those are 3 of the guys that I think your 9-10 rotation, those guys are going to definitely be into it, along with Kevin Huerter. And even Jalen Smith gave some solid rim protection, some defense today, didn't shoot the ball well at all. But, Pat, I'm going to ask you this question. Is it that the Bulls can actually have a more solid bench unit than what we were expecting?
No, I think it's exactly what we were expecting. I mean, like, if we're being honest, what did we say this morning? What did I say this morning? I think that this team has been built to plop a superstar into, and you've got a lot of really good, solid pieces that can get you through. I thought Zach Collins 110% solidified his role on this team and his opportunity. Jalen Smith can't shoot. Like, that's GG's. He's
bro at some point, and some of the looks were really good, bro.
Hey, bro,
some of the looks
wide
were
open,
good.
bro. It was one wide open, and I swear, like, he hit the front and the heel of the rim. I didn't know how you were able to do that. It was impressive. And unfortunately, that's very much what we saw from Jalen Smith last season. I think the thing with Zach Collins, listen, while it was, I'm not going to sit here and say it was versus the best competition of the night, right? Like, it wasn't versus the Jared Allens or whatever of the night, but he's going to be a backup guy for you off of your bench. He was 6 for 7 from the field. I thought he rebounded the basketball really well. I thought he was incredibly aggressive. And that's exactly what we said about Zach Collins last season before he dealt with a little bit of injury and then kind of fell out of the rotation for us. I think he's making a name for himself there. As far as Ayo Dosunmu, like I said with Modest Buzelis, like, those are the guys to me that you expected to really come out and show you something here early on in this preseason matchup, because they were the guys that we saw all season locked in the lab. And they look like their game has grown quite a bit from that. And I thought Ayo showed an incredible amount of confidence. And I thought again, Trey Jones, Ayo, Zach Collins, what do they all have in common? They just do their jobs well. Trey Jones looked like the description is almost the same for all 3. You know what he did tonight? His job really, really well. And that's what I expect to see from these guys. Now, Ayo, of course, did it. He was pretty much 6 man off of the bench. So he did it versus better competition. But Like, I think that's what we saw from Zach Collins versus what was the big game he had? Was that versus Jokic last year?
I don't remember. I'm not even.
He had one versus a top center, and you were just kind of like, oh, he's just being tough and finishing around the rim. That's what you want to see from your backup.
And that's the thing. Like the bench unit. The reason why I think this bench can thrive this season, and I don't know how they're going to rank amongst other benches in the NBA. We'll see. But the reason why I am confident is because you're not asking anybody to do anything other than what kind of comes natural to them. Trey Jones, you need him to facilitate, push the pace, and hit open shots. He can do that. Ayo, you need him to be a two-way player. That's where he thrives at, especially when he gets downhill and gets out in transition. We're going to be a fast-running team. To your point, Zach Collins just got to be tough. It got to be tough. There are going to be some games where Zach Collins scores 10, 12 points. There are going to be some where he scores 6. But it's that toughness that he needs to bring. It's about performance, not necessarily stats. And I think you're going to have a bench that really buys into what they need to do because the roles are there. They're clear-cut for them, and they can thrive. And it's not like we're asking somebody to do stuff that we haven't already seen these guys to do. We just need them to do what their strengths have been basically over their NBA careers. And even when Kevin Huerter, goes back to the bench, we need him to shoot. And he's going to have guys that he can play off of and that can set screens and things like that. So I think this is going to be a strong bench unit, man. I really do. I think that's going to be one of the positives for this team this year. And we'll see how that helps elevate this team some because it can.
Well, and what it does, dog, is like versus the backups, you get the opportunity to go out there and sometimes make up some ground, sometimes play some of your best basketball. I think that those are all things that are going to be important because there's going to be times with the starting lineup, especially early on, where you're giving Modest the ball and maybe it's not falling for him. You need those guys that can come off of the bench and make up some of the slack from this starting unit. And I think when you talk about bench rankings, I wouldn't say that there's more depth on many other teams than there is on the Chicago Bulls right now as far as guys that just do their jobs really well.
Yeah. I agree with you wholeheartedly. So we got to see how those guys are going to play off. Billy Donovan's going to have to figure out the right ebbs and flows. Pat, we know that they were trying to find the 10th man in the rotation, right? First 9 guys, Kevin Huerter, Trey Jones, Ayo Dosunmu, Zach Collins. Did anybody stand out to you as far as that 10th guy in the rotation from just this game?
Listen, I kind of hate to say it, but it's Jevon Carter.
No, bro.
I kind of hate to say
now
it,
you just killed P. Will because of fourth quarter, and Jevon literally played. His all came in when there was G League guys.
But here's the reason that I say it. The 10th guy has to come from that fourth quarter. So it's either going to be P. Will, which it doesn't feel like it's going to be P. Will.
And
I'm
so surprised because P. Will played against more starters and more actual rotation NBA guys than Jevon Carter ever did in this game. But it's like you're down on P. Will, but higher on Jevon Carter, where P. Will played better than Jevon Carter on both sides of the ball today.
I would say that to me, when I look at guys who are going to be rotational guys, is about what you need. And yes, you want P. Will to be something, but it doesn't feel your need also has to play into the politics of the game. P. Will being 11th is not just not by choice or not by chance.
For sure.
It's not that like Billy Donovan is done with P. Will. That's the thing for me with P. Will. That's the message that was sent for me with P. Will. So it's not that I'm down on P. Will. It's that the head coach of the Bulls is down on P. Will.
But here's the thing, though, Pat. How can you say that that's not also true for Jevon Carter? He got in there after P. Will and played against worse competition.
No, 100%. But I would say that if you're talking about somebody who made an impact in their time on the court, I don't think P. Will made more of an impact than Jevon Carter. I think when it came down to your minutes on the court and you being aggressive, Jevon Carter was 100% the aggressor. Now, again, this is one game. This is not the long term. P. Will can wake up very much like I said with Kevin Huerter. P. Will could wake up and be ready to go. Dalen Terry had a game-saving block. He really didn't do much else. Like, who's the other now? Is it P. Will for you?
I mean, P. Will, it depends on what you need.
Is that or is Yuki?
Well, it's not. Yuki's two-way. He's definitely not going to be the 11th man in the rotation. And say what you will about Yuki. Yuki got cooked defensively.
He gonna get cooked defensively. He's 5'7", Haize.
And here's the thing, too. I don't think we need any more guards. I think the guard rotation is down. So I think when you look at it positionally, you're going to need another kind of swing guy that can play multiple positions. That's not Jevon Carter. It's definitely not Yuki Karamura. So, I do think you're looking at the P. Wills. I do think you're looking at Jalen Smiths. I don't think anybody separated themselves all the way yet. I think P. Will play better than you're giving him credit for. Most of his time did not come in the fourth quarter. And he played some solid defense against actual NBA starters. And I think that's what we're looking for more than Javon Carter's, high volume shooting that's just not going to be there for him as a high volume shooter. So that's my personal opinion. I think P. Will did more in this game than Javon Carter did, but I guess we'll see. It's not going to be decided in one game.
I would say the third quarter is probably where he got most of his minutes, and he put up a shot and was out there. Like it was a very P. Will game to me. There wasn't this impact. There wasn't this.
A P. Will game as the 10th guy is a lot more impactful than a P. Will game as your starting power forward.
Sure, but I think the thing is right now, like, again, I go back to Billy Donovan doesn't believe he's the 10th guy. That's how this game felt to me. So if you're asking me, like, if we're just picking, who was 10 off the bench? Was it Trey?
No, Trey was second. Trey was first off the bench. Trey got actually in the game before Ayo. It was Trey, Ayo, and Zach. And then Jalen got off him before P. Will too.
Was it Noah?
No, Noah didn't get into the fourth quarter. Noah didn't get in at all to the fourth quarter. Julian got in before P.
Julian, who basically didn't play basketball. I mean, he did. He got 11 minutes in there. But like, it just, I think our perception of P. Will, whatever we think P. Will can be, whatever we're expecting, I don't think Billy Donovan has that. And so I can't even include him in my real assessment with this right now.
I get that. I don't doubt that. My thought process, though, is that you're giving more to Javon Carter, who was even further down than P. That's my only thing. I agree with you there. But I just think if you're lobbying that towards P. Will, that same thing applies to Javon Carter based off the rotation. But we do got to get into your air read.
Oh, we do got to get into the air read, yes. I got to find the air read. There it is. Before we get into this final topic, talking about Noa Essengue, who what do he look like? We'll talk about that coming up next. We got to tell you guys all about FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Here's the thing about FanDuel. It makes watching football even more exciting when you've got a little something riding on the action. Whether you're a casual fan or love diving into the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. That's FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. More more Locked On Bulls coming up next.
That is hilarious. That was funny. How did that get back up there? All right. Anyway. All right, Pat. So, Noa Essengue got in nothing but garbage time. Do want to put that qualifier out there. It was completely garbage time when Noa Essengue did get in the game, but looked active out there. Did even the shots that he didn't block. He did alter a lot of shots with, just trying to get chase down blocks, those type of things. Scored decently at times. It took some open 3-pointers. How'd you feel about Noa Essenge's game today?
It was either first game jitters, which could happen, or the mindset isn't there yet for the NBA. He feels like a very finesse player. I'll say that. And sometimes with finesse players, they aren't very aggressive. And that's kind of what I felt from Noa Essengue today. Again, I want to see. Maybe I'm spoiled by what we saw from Modest last year, but remember, Modest was just like, you put the ball in my hand, I'm going to try and kill somebody. Like, that's my goal here. And that's kind of the mindset that I think guys who are coming into this league and want to go out there and dominate have. Now, with that being said, Modest played in G League Ignite. Was that the G League team he played for? G League Ignite. He had NBA experience already. He had, I know that I'm going to go out here and go up against some of these tougher guys. And Noah just doesn't have that. He's a raw prospect that you got to see develop. But to me, I want to see that. I want to see that fire that at times we saw from him in France. And I want to see him take the easy buckets that I thought he had. I felt like he was just a little bit too passive there. Again, that's stuff that, it also depends on your role. Also depends on, what Billy Donovan is asking him to do. But there was a couple of times where guys, where he got the ball and guys closed out insanely too hard. And I was just like, okay, just take him off the dribble like you did in France. And those were the moments where he passed out of it a couple of times. But overall, I thought, listen, for a first game, plus 12 plus minus, 8 points overall, 5 rebounds on the day. Like, it's not a bad start. It's just continue to build on that, continue to add to your game, and continue to as you get more comfortable, hopefully he's able to find some of that aggression.
And see, I think that he was more aggressive than you give him credit for. You get to the free throw line 4 times and you get 5 rebounds. You're at least not being passive, right? And that's a good sign for somebody who's 18 years old playing against grown
3
ass
offensive
men, right?
too.
Yeah, so
3 offensive.
So getting that and being as young as he is a good sign, right? I think that and that's what I want to see from Noa Essengue. Did play professionally, I think, for 2 years. So basically, since he was 16 years old, he's been playing against grown men. And I'll say this: the league that he played in is probably right up there with G League competition. So there's that part of it. But I do think Noah's going to be. It's going to take some time for Noah, and it's probably going to be a longer path. If Noah does get minutes by the end of the season, let's just say by the end of the season, Noa Essengue is getting 10, 12 minutes, whatever. I do think it's going to be a longer path to get there than what Modest Buzelis took to get there, right? I think while Modest played, 1 or 2 games in the G League, you may see 5 for Noa Essengue. But I do think that the things that he did well, rebound, try changing shots. Rim protection isn't just about the shots you block; it's about the shots you alter as well. Yeah. I think he altered some shots there. Getting to the free throw line, he got to the free throw line at an amazing rate overseas. So I'm glad to see that at least in this one game that transfers over a little bit. Those are all things that I can see him using to get into the into the minutes in Billy Donovan's rotation. It's just going to be a long path to get there, I think, for him.
Yeah, what I don't want to see him do, and what I felt like at times he did, when he was aggressive and able to get to the rim, he was fine. You know what I mean? But what I don't want to see him do is get lost in the sauce. That's the thing with P. Will that irritates us the most is when P. Will goes to the bucket and he's strong, it's like, yeah, you're freaking stronger than everybody out here. You're able to move anybody that's in front of you. Oh, my God, people moved out your way and you finished the layup. And then we'll see like 5 plays in a row where we go, is he still on the floor? Don't get lost in the sauce. Make an impact.
Don't be Willie.
Don't be Willie. Be the screener. You know what I mean? Even in some of the off-ball screens, again, we don't know exactly what Billy Donovan is asking them to do this early. He probably doesn't know exactly what Billy Donovan is asking them to do.
I mean, he said it after the you were out last week, so he was interviewed after the second practice, and they were asked, like, what Billy Donovan asked you to do? And he said, play defense and be active on both sides of the ball.
You know what I mean? But I think that's remember when Modest started, right? We were just like, yo, I don't even know if this kid can play, but he's aggressive as heck. Like he is just making himself known. And the thing that we continued to talk about when the Javonte Greens would come in, the DJJs would get opportunities, right? On those missed shots, those are yours. There's nothing being schemed for you. There's nothing being run for you. Unfortunately, right now, you are not that guy. You have to be the guy. And I think we saw that a little bit tonight. 3 offensive boards for him in what do you play? 14 minutes today, 13 minutes today, 13:34. You saw him being aggressive on the boards at times, and he was already down there. You saw him defensively getting in front of guys, like you said, changing shots. Like those are the moments where you go, okay, I can see the skill set. Now, can we bring the talent out? And I think that's going to be the biggest thing with Noah.
That's a great point. Great point. Anything left, Pat, before we get up out of here?
Nah, man, it's preseason game 1. None of this matters in the grand scheme of things, but it's exciting that basketball is back, if we've been honest.
It is good to be able to talk basketball.
First game of preseason, Javon Carter went 4 for 7, and he may not get 7 shots in the first 2 weeks of the season.
First 2 months of the season, maybe not. But yeah, it was good to talk basketball. We got games Thursday. We got games Sunday. So hey, we're right back into the thick of things, man. So
I'm back, Jake.
I'm back. We're back. Go ahead, Pat. Close this out.
Follow us on Locked On Bulls, at Locked On Bulls. Follow me on everything at Pat the Designer. Appreciate you guys for tuning in and showing love. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Larry Nance starting to look like his dad, by the way, a lot. Like
Bruh.
The age it's terrifying.
Bro, I know everyone that you've had that moment. Sure, I've had that moment where like you just in the mirror and you're like, damn, I look like my dad.
Bro, yes, it's happening right now as we speak with 2 kids. Larry Nance look like there's some cocaine on the plane.
You guys can follow me at CEO Haize. Locked On Bulls is free and available on every podcasting app and platform of your choice, as well as YouTube, the Odyssey app, Amazon Fire TV, Roku TV, Fubo TV, basically anywhere you want us. You can get it. We'll see you guys bright and early. Not tomorrow, because this is tomorrow's episode. We'll see you guys on Thursday. Peace, y'all.
Peace. We're going to be done with the week on Thursday.